Hello, my friends, and welcome back to The Gun Show. We always appreciate you showing up. Today, we are talking IMTS all the time, and today's subject will be Haimer. I have very special guests with me today. They flew in all the way from the UK to be a part of this with a wonderful friend of mine, Megan Zimba, also. But yes, the two owners of MTDCNC are here, Paul Jones and Joe Reynolds. We're going to talk Haimer, guys. First of all, thank you for hopping the pond to be here. Welcome back to The Gun Show, my friends. This is the VIP edition.
We wouldn't miss this, Tony. This is fantastic. Great to be part of it. Bit tired this morning, still suffering with a little bit of jet lag, but you know, it's to be expected. And a late night, of course.
A late night.
You're responsible for.
We're not. Okay, on to Haimer before we get into trouble talking about that. Thanks for that, Paul. We really appreciate that being the introduction.
I'm done now, am I? Yeah, I'm
Everyone who watches this knows I'm a troublemaker already, and you're just making sure that's solidified. I appreciate that. Joe, how are you feeling?
Far better than Paul.
He doesn't look it, though. He doesn't look it, does he? Doesn't look it.
But I have to say, this is fantastic, what you've done here. It's credit. Well done.
Yeah, this is fun. This is a good place. And for people who watch this podcast regularly, we'll give a quick shout out to Christian as well. The magic man behind the curtain, like Wizard of Oz, right? Mm-hmm. He's doing all the work. He does all the hard work. We're just the pretty faces. We're the talent, they say. I don't know how that works.
But we're told they can't see below the table, though, can they?
Well,
it's all light.
If you want to show everyone what you're wearing, you have to stand up. All right, on to Haimer. We will be on the Haimer booth Monday from 10 to 12. Booth number is 431510. Megan, I'm going to start with you because you were just there.
I was.
You were spending time at their headquarters in Chicago. Yeah. How was your experience? What did you learn?
It was quite an experience because, as we all know, I'm not quite good with the cameras yet, so I had to go back a couple of times because we didn't catch their audio, which was really disappointing. But they have a lot of cool technology. Their shrink fit technology was really eye-opening to me because not being from the machining industry as a subject matter expert, I didn't even know that was a thing. So to see it up close and personal was really cool. And then they showed me some of their tool tracking systems. So like they can track their inventory and keep that up in the cloud. They also partnered with another company. So they're doing a lot of really cool things to streamline and make things more efficient on shop floors. And then they also provided a little teaser, little information about what they're going to be showcasing at IMTS. So they're actually bringing like an automation cell there with some of the technology that we talked about in our demos. And I don't really want to give too much because their videos should be coming out soon.
They are coming out soon. Stay tuned for that, by the way.
So it was really, really fun. Brent's a really good dude. CJ was awesome. They have a really good team there, just really nice and hospitable. So it really felt like you were going to see a family friend.
I would consider Brent a family friend, if I'm being honest, as well as Andy Haimer. And they just brought on Manuel Merck as well, who came from the Hermele side of things, who is a relationship with Robbie K, who we love, and with Gunther, who is still at Hermele. So it's really this family business coming together. Manuel's awesome. Yeah. All right, a little bit closer to their main headquarters is where you guys call home in the UK. What have you guys seen with Haimer? I've been to the headquarters. Have you been to the Joe, you've been to the headquarters, right?
Yeah, a few times.
But Paul, you have not.
No, I've not. But I've seen, I mean, they seem to be everywhere I go. It's almost like they follow me around, you know. But, you know, most of these kind of open houses and events that we go to, Haimer will always have a presence. The last one I went to was a Starrag Tech Day, the aerospace.
They were there.
They were there, and they had their kind of digital tool room, which they talk about, which you wouldn't normally necessarily associate a tool room with needing to be digitalized because it's a tool room. You know what I mean? We've all used, you know, manual mills and conventional lathes and all the rest of it. So you wouldn't necessarily think that that is something that you need to be, or you need to enhance productivity with, but this is clearly what they do. That, you know, and I was talking to Andreas there, and Andreas is a man that gets everywhere as well. I mean, everywhere I go, I follow him around, or he follows me around, but he's always everywhere too.
He's cloned. There's a couple of clones of him. Actually, he's traveling so much.
Surprise me, yeah. But what fascinated me, and I know Megan just touched upon it about the heat shrink system. I look at that, and it always fascinates me. I think, how many times can you know, heat something up and cool it down and still maintain that level of tolerance and precision in machining?
Yeah.
It just defies science in almost to me. But specifically what I certainly saw in Switzerland was the fact that they were taking everything from like the from the heat shrink to the measurement, the tool cabinets where you check in and check out tools. So it's basically, foolproofing the production of a tool room, which, for me, if that's something similar, which I'm sure it will be, what they'll be showing at the IMTS show, then it's definitely, something that should be considered and seen.
Yeah,
and Andreas will be there as well, I'm sure.
He'll at least half the time because A and B is during the same week.
Do the same as us, probably.
Yeah,
maybe fly from one to the other.
That's right. So Joe, Paul brings up a great point about the tool room, right? But you and I have been to the headquarters and seeing their tool room is all digitalized. Incredible. So it's not like they're implementing an idea that they don't utilize themselves. Their tool room is fascinating with how under control it is. I mean, it's really good.
At EBITDA Growth Systems, we guarantee to double your value in 3 years. Well, instead of telling you about a guarantee, how about if I tell you a story? We had a shop owner come to us at an event saying, I'm not sure if you can help us. He said, we have our credit lines maxed out in our business. I have a second mortgage on my home, it's maxed out. I'm not sure what to do. I have a payroll coming up next week and I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Can you help us? We said we weren't sure, so we came in and we came alongside of him. In 18 months, he went from not having any money to having over $800,000 in the bank and having a 6 times exit what his value was at that day. And now he's living a life that he always dreamed of with his family. And it's fantastic, and that's what's really rewarding for us, and that's what EBITDA Growth Systems is all about. If you want to know more about EBITDA Growth Systems, go to www.ebitagrowthsystems.com, EBITDA growthsystems.com, and go to our contact page where I will reach out to you personally.
Yeah, the whole facility is out of this world, isn't it? The tool room, the actual manufacturing process of these tool holders, it's unbelievable. I went probably, I don't know, I'm getting old, probably 15 years ago was the first time I went.
Wow.
And when I look at where they were there to where they are now, it's a different company. It's a different company. They continue to evolve, continue to bring out new products. I think back home, they're probably most famous for the shrink fit tooling, in all honesty, with obviously the machines as well. Global leaders in tool balancing, which is an undersold concept globally.
Balancing, I mean, that's
I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, actually, because when I first saw the way they demoed it for me when I went to their headquarters, I'm going to explain it in just a minute because I want you to continue, Joe. But yeah, we'll get into balancing in just a minute because the way they demoed it to me, I'm going to find out if they did the same for you. But immediately I realized, holy crap, the world needs to know about this because we're destroying our machines without even realizing it. So we'll get into that in just a minute, but please continue, Joe.
Yeah, no, just saying, home in the UK, obviously, tool holders, most machine shops have got Haimer tool holders, whether you're a small company or a large company. Yeah, tool balancing, there's not enough adoption in the UK, but I do think that's a global problem. We do see them, don't get me wrong. In fact, it's the only one I've ever seen is a Haimer in an end user. But yeah, and obviously the tool presetting, that's an area. They had the acquisition of Microset probably, I don't know, time flies, 7-8 years ago maybe. And that's continued to improve, continue to evolve. And yeah, we just see more and more Haimer. Like Paul says, you can't go to a trade show or even a regional open house without seeing Haimer somewhere, can you?
Yeah, and the booth is always glowing, and it's always busy. It's the highlight of the hall.
I remember
a lot of times.
Party they had something. When was the one we went to where they had this?
What, an emo? I think it was an emo.
Yeah,
everyone was there.
Floor, yeah.
The lights were going. Yeah, it was. Anyway.
Were you dancing that?
Don't I always dance? There's no. You can't stop these dance moves.
Badly.
Oh, I never said it was good, but it's gonna happen. I want to talk about balancing real quick, but before I get into balancing, cutting tools. They do cutting tools as well, which a lot of people don't associate with Haimer all the time. But, I mean, everything from the tool holder and the cutting tools and the balancing and measuring, and it's all there. It's all incorporated. So, Megan, I don't know if you did this or not, but Fernanda and I actually were in Mexico, and a gentleman, we won't say the machine name, but a gentleman bought what he considered an average machine, right? He didn't invest millions of dollars in the highest quality machine. Then he adopted the Haimer product with the balancing, with the cutting tools, which gave him the precision he was looking for on a more or less middle of the range machine. And he was making molds, die molds with accuracy and mirror finishes thanks to the Haimer product. But balancing, okay. So when I went there at the headquarters, I'm not sure if you did this or not, Megan, they gave me this big wheel, right? And you spin this wheel, and there's a couple of magnets on it. So you take the magnets and you put them on the outer edges, and you try to hold on to it, and you're literally moving back and forth trying to hold on to this thing. And then they put the magnets in the center, and you're like, holy crap. That's what's happening to our tools? Imagine that happening all day, every day, in these expensive machines we invest in. Granted, it could be a 1/4-inch tool, or if we're millimeters, you know, a 4mm tool or something like that. But when you start getting to the more out of balance, bigger tools, maybe some of those face mills that are out there when they're out of balance, you can really destroy a machine that way. Did you get to go through that process also?
Yeah. So rumor is that I did a lot better job than you did.
Don't you always? Are you spreading that rumor?
No. Brent said it on tape, so we have it recorded. It is documented. But no, it was really interesting. It looks like a Thor hammer, basically, and it's just 2 wheels that, like you mentioned, on each side. So when you don't have the magnets on one or the other side, like it spins and it doesn't like shake or whatever. But even like with the slightest imbalance, it's amazing how much your hand like shakes and wobbles a little bit. And yeah, that can not only destroy your tool, but also the part you're trying to cut. Like you're not going to get the accuracy or the tolerance.
The best way that I kind of liken it in my mind is back in the UK, it's like, I'm sure you have it here as well, but the wear on a tyre on a car.
Yeah.
You know, how you go and get your tyres done in a garage and the guys will say it's out of balance and they'll put the little weights on and all the rest of it. But you can see the evidence on the tyre if it has been out of balance for a significant period of time, what an impact that's had on the wear and tear. So if you kind of associate that then with your machine or your cutting tool, it's got to be something. And we, I know we come from a UK and European perspective, but it's definitely not. It's well undersold. People, I cannot remember the last machine shop I went into where they were balancing their tools. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
It's crazy. It's very common in grinding shops for whatever reason.
I was just in Fullerton Tool where they were doing all the grinding and they had a balancing system there as well, yeah.
Every machine shop should have one, without question. You get your money back eventually anyway, because the tool life savings, certainly when you look at some of these smaller diameter tools are cutting off centre, you might need to be cutting on 2 out of the 4 flutes or whatever, because they're out of balance. It makes no sense at all. Your analogy about the car wheels, 100%. If you've ever gone down the motorway and your wheel's out of balance, you're shaking, aren't you?
Well, it's like watching you run. When he runs, he's out of balance.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. You can see he's got one leg longer than the other.
Spine in line, perfectly balanced, Tony, as you would imagine.
You don't want to see him running, honestly.
Now I do, actually.
You dancing and him running.
Christian, can we get some B-roll for this video of Joe running, just so everyone understands how this works?
We're going to have a foot race after this.
Hey everybody, Mike Franz here with Shop Floor Coffee. For 20 years, we've been seeing the same issues going on with workforce development and the shortage in workers across the industry. We wanted a way to give back. Shop Floor Coffee is our way to do that. Proceeds from every bag or every type of coffee you buy from us go back to the community. We work with amazing programs and initiatives across the country where we're giving back. We want to help support the community. Come together with us. Join us in this effort to help support the community. Please, thank you very much.
But I think what's interesting too about Haimer is that I know you said that they would make their investment back, but it's not that expensive. The balancing machine, like they made it so that it can be pretty affordable for even like the smaller machine shops. So I think that's really commendable of Haimer as well too, because they're not just thinking the bigger shops all the time. They're really thinking about those small to medium sized shops and how can we help them be more successful and productive. So that's why I really enjoyed all the conversations I had with Brent, because they keep the smaller guys in mind and okay, how can we make these affordable, and then how can we streamline their processes so that everything is connected, and like the digitization of all the information and data that they're collecting through their systems, it's really going to help machine shop owners figure out where they need to put power into, where they can do predictive maintenance was one of the comments that was made yesterday. So yeah, I think it's just a really cool toolkit that they're creating for all machine shops, and it's not going to break the bank on them.
Yeah, it's a good point, because small to medium-sized shops are the majority of this country, right? And imagine the majority of the world as well.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, we got to kind of wrap this up. I know we could talk Haimer all day long, so we have a...
Incidentally, if you get any machine tool manual, it will tell you to keep your spindle in warranty, your tools have to be balanced. Pretty much every machine tool manual tells you that, but nobody does.
I was going to say, and yet we're walking into shops and not seeing them everywhere, are we?
Not at all. It's not that Haimer are doing a bad job, but it's just that it's just one of those things, those incidentals that people think they shouldn't need, but clearly they do.
My shrink fit keeps it balanced enough. I don't need to add a secondary precautionary machine, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I would respectfully disagree with that. Head over to the Haimer booth and check it out for yourself, right? So we will be there on Monday from 10 to 12. The booth number again is 431510. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Hop in the pond just for this one podcast. I know you're headed back right now. Megan, always a pleasure. Even if you do show me up all the time and do better interviews than I do, I appreciate you being here as well.
I appreciate
And
you.
we'll see you all in the Haimer booth, but show up every day to IMTS and swing by their booth. It's going to be another beautiful one. So thank you all for watching. Time is the one thing we cannot manufacture more of, and we appreciate you sharing it with us.